It was 10 days to our wedding when I stopped hearing from my fiancé all of a sudden. I did and tried everything in my power to locate him, but to no avail. Now, a little background story. I met Amos at a colleague's wedding. He was sitting right beside me and we hit it off immediately. After talking for some time, we both realized we had a lot in common. So we exchanged contacts after the ceremony and continued talking. One thing led to the other and we started dating 2 months later. I've only dated once before I met Amos. I dated my ex for 3 years and it led to nowhere. So I made it clear to Amos I wanted a serious relationship and he told me he wanted the same thing. Just after dating him for 5 months, he introduced me to his uncle. He told me his uncle was his only family and he was basically the one who raised him. A month later, he told me he wanted to meet my parents. They loved him and everything was great. After dating for a year, we started making plans for the future. He told me I was the one for him and that he can never live without me. And I felt the same way about him too. 2 months after our first anniversary, he went down on his knees and proposed. And of course I said yes. Soon after this, we started our wedding preparations. We chose the theme of the wedding together, the colors, the food we wanted at the wedding. We were communicating daily about everything. We sent out the wedding invitations 2 months to the D-Day. He was an introvert, so he had only a few friends. And his only family member I knew was his uncle. So basically, majority of the people coming were from my side. A day before he went AWOL, we were on the phone all day. He told me he couldn't wait for me to become his wife. He told me never to doubt his love and that I was the only one for him. He even texted me good night before I went to sleep that night. And then the next day, he just vanished into thin air. When I didn't hear from him the first day, I thought he might be busy at work. I tried calling him, but his number was switched off. I didn't really think much of this, but after 5 days of not hearing from him, I got scared because we've never gone a whole day without talking. I tried contacting some of the few friends he had, and they told me they've also not heard anything from him. At this point, I was getting very scared. I thought something bad might have happened to him. I tried calling his uncle several times too. His number was also switched off. Where his uncle was staying was quite far, but after not hearing from Amos for 6 days, I went to see his uncle. I met him on his way leaving the house. When he saw me, he acted as if he didn't even know me. He acted so indifferent. I asked him about Amos. I wanted to know if he was okay. His uncle told me Amos was okay and that he wanted to be left alone for the meantime. Even as he was talking to me, he was walking away from me. He told me to go home and that when Amos was ready to talk to me, he would contact me himself. Before I could say a word, he just sat in his car and drove away. I was so confused and dumbfounded. Have I done something to offend Amos? Why was he avoiding me when it was only 4 days to our wedding? I had so many questions. Like, was he still interested in marrying me? Were we postponing the wedding? Like, what was really going on? And why was he keeping me in the dark? Part 2 is up.